Hello, everyone. I am Bobby Marleb, and together with Adina Jacobs, are the co-founders of Mentor Walks. Thank you for joining us this evening. And before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that we are all on the lands of First Nations people. I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri land of the Kulin Nation, and to pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Mentor Walks is about helping women get the connections and the career guidance that they need to move forward. And integral to what we're doing is good women supporting good women. And tonight we are delighted to have Kristina Karlsson, who many of you know from her kikki.K days and as the creative director of Dream Life, who's coming to share with us about how we dream big and achieve those dreams. I'm going to leave it to Kiki to talk about herself and to tell her own story about coming here as a 22-year-old from a farm in Sweden. And you will also know or have received an email with a workbook attached. If you haven't got that, don't worry too much because she'll be showing it on screen. We're also inviting you to respond in the chat function, and she'll be asking you to respond in the chat function to exercises in the book. We're not sure whether we're going to have time for questions, but if we do, we will certainly love to answer any questions that you have. I also want to let you know that this session is being recorded and will be up on our YouTube channel. So if you want to review anything or invite other people to share in the wisdom of Kristina today, please invite them to do so. So without further ado, over to you, Kristina Karlsson. It is a great pleasure to have you with us.
Oh, thank you, Bobby, and hi, everyone. A very warm welcome. I love Mentor Walks. I love mentoring and I love walking. So I think it's a beautiful combination. I'm very excited to be part of it. And I'm really excited about doing this session today. I have actually squeezed in so much, so I'm going to talk really, really fast. And English is my second language, and I tend to mix Swedish and English. And if I do that, I call it Swinglish. Feel free to laugh. Feel free to ask any questions. Bobby will answer them. I might not be able to keep an eye. I'm not very good at multitasking. I learned the hard way that that's not really good for us. But if you do have any specific questions, put them in the chat and I will try to answer them as we're doing the workshop. So there's a lot to go through, but before I do, I'm just going to introduce myself really quickly. My journey started when I came to Australia as a 22-year-old from Sweden. I met an Australian man in a ski resort, came here. I was whinging, complaining. I had no idea what to do with my life. So one morning at 3 a.m., I woke up my partner for the 5th time, asking him, what am I going to do with my life? And he said, why don't we write down what is important to you? And I wrote down some simple dreams on paper. So today, when I'm asking you to dream big and dream whatever comes naturally for you, I want you to write them down, even if you don't think that you can do it, because that's what I did. So I had on my list that I wanted to drive to work every single day and loving it. I feel it's so important to love what we do. I also want to have a business on my own. I had no idea what that was going to be. I wanted to work with Swedish design. I want to have a connection with Sweden, and I wanted to make $500 a week. And that was my dreams on paper. And then, to make a very long story short, I created kikki.K out of that. And it became a really loved global brand. So many ups and downs through my journey, and then sadly lost it in administration over COVID. But the good thing is, when you're an entrepreneur, you fall down many times and then you just raise up. And that's what I've done. I've created a new business called Dream Life. So I got a store called the Dream Life Store. And I also do coaching, and I have a virtual book club and a habit club, because I'm really passionate about inspiring people to live their dream life, whatever that is for them. So I'm super excited to have you here, and we are going to get started. So I'm going to share my screen. So all good? Can you let me know if you're seeing that? Bobby, is that all good? Perfect. Good. Great. Thank you. Let me just. So no matter where you are from, your dreams are valid. So when I ask you to dream big today, it's going to be whatever is right for you. So So don't think about it if it's big or small, whatever comes to mind, they're all valid. I want you to start, if you have your workbook, or just grab a journal or a pen or a notebook or a piece of paper, and I want you to write down just in one sentence why you're doing this workshop. You're very welcome to share anything in the chat. I'm going to ask specific things I want you to share, but if you want, share this one as well. But I want you to write this down for yourself, because I do this all the time when I'm changing anything in my life, and it's a really good reminder why we're doing things, because you will walk away, no doubt, being super motivated, but then there might be some challenges coming your way, and it's good to be reminded why you're doing this workshop. So just write that down really quickly in one sentence or two. And then I want you to write down, if you don't change anything, what will your life look like in 10 years' time? So if you're not happy with your job at the moment, or your business, or your health, or your relationships, or anything in your life, and it's a bit of a negative vibe, and if you don't change anything, what will your life look like in 10 years' time? So just write down whatever that is for you. So if you're not having the right health right now, you're more likely to be worse off in 10 years' time. If you are complaining like I did when I came to Australia and I had no idea what to do with my life, you're not going to be better off in 10 years' time. So just write down whatever comes to mind for you if you don't change anything. Because today I really want you to really think that you can do anything. I really truly believe that you can do anything, not all. You can't do everything, but you can certainly do what you put your mind to. So write that down as well. I have two screens, that's why I'm looking a bit on the side. I want you just to close your eyes just for a moment, and I'll let you know when to open them up. And then I want you to take 3 really big, deep breaths. So breathe in and breathe out. And then do 2 more deep ones, and keep your eyes closed. And I'm just going to read out something for you. Today, I want you to not worry about the doing. I don't want you to filter anything you come up with. I don't want you to worry about sorting through them. Just connect with your heart, dream big, and capture those dreams on paper as quickly, roughly, and simply as you like. I want you to think of it as a brainstorming exercise. I want you to imagine your life without any limitations, just for today. You have all the money you need. Time is no limit. There is no urgency, no musts, no shoulds, and you cannot fail. Imagine you can do whatever you want to do and have whatever you want to have, to be whoever you want to be. You are not constrained at all what your parents think, what your friends think, what your partner thinks, what anyone thinks. You are totally free just to be you, to be your best self, and to dream without any limitations about what you want for yourself, for those you love and care about, and for the world. Today, I'm giving you permission to stop for a moment and just let go of everything you thought you could or couldn't do. The world is so full of possibilities. Everything starts with a dream. So this is your turn to cast all doubts and all constraints aside and give yourself the gift of dreaming. And you can open your eyes and let's get started. So we are going to plan the year as well. We're just going to start with a dreaming exercise, because most of us often plan with what we think we can do, but I'm going to get you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and then get you to dream big, and then we're going to plan that into your life. So I want you to start writing whatever comes to mind when I ask you these questions. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail in 2023? And if you think 2023 is too small, you can think about it as your lifetime as well. It's up to you. But because we're focusing on this year, I'm going to talk about 2023, but it's up to you. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? So maybe things that comes up for you, just write down whatever comes up. Don't think about the spelling. Don't think about if you can or can't do it, and what your parents will think, what your peers will think, what social media will have an opinion on. Just write whatever comes to mind. So you might say, I want to start a new career. I might want to start my new side, a new side hustle. I might want to write a book. I might want to start a podcast. I'm just giving you lots of options in case it triggers anything, and I'm going to talk fast. So what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What comes up for you? It's a really good question to really remember and ask yourself all the time. So what came up for me was to start a business. I had no idea how to do that. Didn't even think about how I was going to do that. I also started my podcast, Your Dream Life podcast, and I was terrified. So if you are, just write it down anyway. I also wrote a book, and English is my second language. Writing is not my strength. So I wrote it down anyway. So I want you to write down anything that comes to mind today. So what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? You can also take it to hobbies, to communities, to things you want to do for the world. It does not have to be any specific thing. So just write whatever comes to mind. You might also want to do something for your health if you knew you couldn't fail, because some of us have failed by healing our illnesses, perhaps. So what comes to mind if you knew you couldn't fail? And what would you do if you had all the money and time you need? So most of us don't have all the money and time we need to do whatever we want to do. But if you had that, what would you do with your life? So write down whatever comes to mind. So if you had all the money and you didn't have to work, what would you do for work? And if you had all the money, is there something you would change completely? And most of us say that we don't have enough time. And what are those things that you say to yourself or to others? Perhaps I will do that when I have time. So it could be that you will start your new business, or you will start studying something, do a course, or seek out a mentor, whatever comes to mind for you if you had the time. Maybe you would spend more time with your family, maybe it's more time with your kids or parents, grandparents, pets, whatever comes to mind. So what would you do if you had all the money and all the time? And it's a question that might be difficult, but I really want you to imagine that, because then so many dreams will come unlocked. And what would you do if you had all the skills and knowledge you need? So you're in Mentor Walk, so you are here for a reason. So you might not have all the skills and knowledge. None of us do. So what would you do if you actually had all the skills and knowledge in your life? What would that mean to you? So maybe you would go for that promotion. Maybe you would completely change your career. Maybe you would write that book, or maybe you would start something for a community that you really feel passionate about. And what would that actually mean for you if you had all that knowledge that you need? Maybe you'll be able to step up, or maybe you will be able to completely shift what you do today. But it could also be something that you want to do in your side hustle. So I had no idea how to start a podcast. So that was one thing that came up when I thought, if I had that knowledge how to do a podcast, then what would I do? And that's what I wrote down. So whatever comes to mind for you. And what would you do if you had all the courage you need, all the self-belief you need? Most people that I meet who are not living their dream life, the number one reason is because they don't believe in themselves. And when you have big dreams and goals in life, without doubt, you will have self-doubt. I have it all the time, but you can overcome that. So if you feel that in any of the dreams you've written down today, and if you took that away, what would you write down? So just write down whatever comes to mind. So if you can have a wand come over you, and you got all the courage to do whatever you want to do. So a lot of people tell me that public speaking comes to mind, and most people rather die than doing public speaking. And I can relate to that, because I was terrified, and now I don't even think about it. So anything is possible if you got the courage to do it. So if you had the courage, what comes to mind for you? And writing a book, or even start a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything like that, even to tell people what you want to do for life, if it's completely different to what you study or what your parents or peers expect of you, it's scary. But if you could have that courage, what comes to mind? Just write it down. What would you do if you had all the health you need and the energy? I'm super aware that not everyone have the health and the energy to do whatever they want, but if you did have that, what comes to mind? So if you had all the health, maybe you would pursue a business, a career, maybe you would start a family, maybe you would travel the world, And if you have all the energy, maybe you would look after your health a bit more. So maybe you would start a morning routine. I love my morning routine so much more now than anything that I do. So I prefer going to bed because I love my morning routine. So maybe you would start creating yours, whatever that is for you. Maybe you would start meditating, and maybe you get up earlier to start exercising or walking or meditating. Do whatever you know that will help you. And if you're not sure today when it comes to dreams, write down a lot of health dreams, because health and fitness and anything well-being, because when we have health, we can make all our other dreams much more achievable, because we need a lot of energy and great health to be able to achieve what we write down today. What would you do if you had all the support you need? So most of us don't have the support we need. So this could be support at home, this could be support at work. But if you had that, what would that mean for you? So if you have an assistant in your business or in your work, what would that mean for you? If you had the support at home, maybe you'd be able to start maybe doing a course, maybe you would do therapy, maybe you would see a mentor or a coach on a regular basis, maybe you would do that art class that you always wanted to do. You can also think about it as what kind of support you need. So if you have small kids, you might want to have help with them one night a week, so you can join a program or get up early to do the mentor walk, etc. So what would you do if you had all the support you needed? Just write down. It's a really powerful one, because when you have support, you are so much more likely to be able to do whatever you want in your lifetime. And what would you do for work if you were living your dream life? And I want you to imagine it as if you didn't have to get paid. So if you imagine you had all the money you need to live for the rest of your life, but you still had to work, what kind of a career or what kind of business or a work for the community would you do? It's also really great to think about if you could work from anywhere, what would you actually do? Most of us love traveling, and most of us love flexibility, and most of us love freedom. And if you still had to work and wanting all those things, what would that look like for you? So for me, doing things like this is my dream. I love sharing it. My dream is to inspire 101 million people to write down 3 dreams. It's a massive dream, but it's something I feel really, really passionate about, and something I love. It doesn't matter if it's a Saturday night or a Sunday morning. I did a workshop on New Year's Day, and my partner said, who would come to workshop on New Year's Day? And there was a few of us that love starting the day, the new year like that. So whatever is coming naturally for you in terms of work, we spend so much time at work, so it's really important that we love it. And I find it so sad when people are stuck in their roles, because you don't have to be stuck. So take the opportunity to write down what you would do for work if you could do anything. And who do you want to meet in your dream life? Write this down in the chat, because it's always great. I'll keep an eye on it. It's always great to think about who you want to meet. These could be famous people that you will be super inspired by, but it can also be people who can teach you things that you want to know. It could be, it's perfect thing here. There might be some mentors that you have seen on the mentor walks that you would love to be paired up with, for example, and who can have a positive impact. This could be a coach, this could be a mentor, this could be someone who's doing a role that perhaps you want, to have a business that you want. Michelle Obama comes up. I love that. I have her on my list as well. I thought is Elva. It's great to share that, and you're allowed to steal from other people. So keep writing in the chat who you want to meet. One of the people that I wrote down when I started my dreaming journey was Richard Branson. He's the biggest dreamer that I have ever come across. So I wrote it down. It's really powerful to write it down, because all of a sudden I saw opportunities to actually go to Necker Island, and eventually I did. And even if you don't have no idea how to meet these people, or and you don't have to meet them in person, you can do so much research online if they're well known. But you could also think about what kind of qualities you want for people to meet. Simon Sinek, Brene Brown. Brene, I have both of them. So here, Hashimi, I'm not sure if I say that right. Thank you so much for sharing, and keep sharing if you want to, and keep stealing if you get inspired. Yeah, Otterlengi, yes, me too. I love to meet your Tom. Eva Duvernay, I'm not sure how I say that, but feel free to continue on, and I'm just going to continue to make sure we stick to the time limit. I also want you to have a think about what kind of people you want to surround yourself with. So I made a decision a long time ago that I will only surround myself with positive people, people who are really encouraging, positive, excited for me and for the world. And we see a lot of negative people in the community and in online, obviously, and I just don't want to be part of it. So I started a personal book group years ago, because I love reading about personal growth, and it was just a private one, and I have some amazing humans in there. And then I started, because I got so many emails, because I talk about that all the time on my podcast. So I now started a virtual one when anyone can join, and it's just such a beautiful, positive energy to be around. So what kind of people would you want to be around? So if you want to be healthy, if that's one of your goals this year, fitter perhaps, you want to be around fit people. You want to be around people who encourage you to get up and exercise and eat the best possible way that suits you. So write down in your workbook or in your journal what kind of qualities and what kind of people you want to be around. And when I meet negative people, I always think, I'm so glad we are able to provide for here mental walks and communities that actually help people to be encouraged. Because I know that some of us are stuck with friends or perhaps even family members that might be very negative. So have a think about who you want to surround yourself. And mental walks is such an amazing place to meet positive people. And I love walking around the town and actually just speak about the opportunities that the mentees have in front of them, and have a think about what kind of people you want to be around when you are able to live your dream life. Now we're going to shift gear a little bit and go into planning, and I hope you got some dreams on paper, and we're going to choose 3 in a minute. But I just want to go into actually planning out this year to make the most of this year. I have a dream and a goal every year to make this year and the next year and the next one the best year ever, because we can make that choice. It might not mean that ends up like that, but we go in with the intention on that. So I want to reflect a little bit on the last year to take some of the good bits out there and make sure we don't do the same mistakes, because we all do the same. We all do have mistakes, and we learn from them. And the most important thing is to learn and actually then move forward. So I want you to write down 2 highlights from last year. And this could be a bit hard to do, because you might need to look at your diary. You might need to look through some photos, but just write whatever comes to mind. So one of the highlights actually that I did last year was actually to go to a day spa. And it was so simple. Aurora opened in Sorrento down here in Melbourne or in Victoria. And I got invited because it's my friend who runs that, Lyndall, and she asked me to come before it started. And I was like, I don't have time. It was just before Christmas, and I decided just to take a day off and do it. And it was one of my highlights, because I got so many ideas. I had time to dream, and I had time to really think about what I wanted to move forward with for this year. This was just before Christmas. So that was one of my highlights. Could be very, very simple. It was amazing that made one of my top ones, and it was so simple to do. So write down 2 highlights from last year. I also want you to write down 2 things that you found challenging. So it could be a breakup. You might have lost someone, which is always so challenging and so hard. You might have had some toxic relationship in your life or at work. It could be that you missed out of a promotion, or maybe you lost your job or your business. So it could be that someone got sick, or you got sick yourself, or you might have just felt a little bit unmotivated. So 2 things you found challenging. And again, I'm going to do this very fast, but you have these workbooks that you can do in your own time. I just want to give you a bit of a taste. And if you want more, I've got lots of options if you ever wanted to dig a little bit deeper. but hoping that you will get as much as you can out of very quick questions. I want you to also think about 2 things that gave your energy last year. It could be a person, could be an experience, could be that you started a fitness routine. One thing that always gets me energy is to have my morning routine. And I just had my family here visiting from Sweden, which was so wonderful, but it really disrupted my my morning routine. So I know how much energy it gives me to have. I have kids and I've got a new startup, so that 2 hours in the morning is really important to me. It gives me energy. So think about what gave you energy and make sure that you do some of that this year as well. And I want you to think about 2 things you want to do more in 23. If you started Mentor Walk, maybe you want to do all of them as much as you possibly can. One thing that I want to do is actually be a mentor in different cities where Mentor Walk is. It could be that you want to exercise more, eat better, all the good things that we know that will give us energy to live our best year. So what do you want to do more of in 2023? And feel free again to add it in the chat, because it's really inspiring for to see what other people are choosing and be inspired. And then I want you to think about 2 things you want to do less of in 2023. So most of us spend way too much time on devices. Some of you might even be addicted to news. Some of you might spend a little bit too much time watching other people's lives, shows, etc., rather than working on your own. So you might want to do less of that. You might want to spend less time with negative people or energy draining people, or you might want to do a little bit less work so you have a bit more time to work on your dream life, whatever that is for you. So write down whatever you want to do less of and make sure you're very conscious of that as you're planning your year for 2023. So I want you now to, I'm going to give you a little bit of time before we get into the planning. So I want you to really think about top 3 dreams and goals for 2023. Hopefully you already have set them, but if you haven't, write down 3. And I want you to write them down. Even if you think I am going to take some time to think about what they are, just choose 3 for today, and then you can perfect it tonight, tomorrow, or whatever it suits you. Most of us are really good at consuming workshops like this, me included, but actually doing the work will make a massive difference. So I want you to choose 3 dreams and goals that comes to mind. If you're not sure, make sure one is work related or business related. So it might be that if you're not happy where you're going, you might want to start thinking about what that means for you, what you actually want to do. And if you're not sure, maybe see if you can go on lots of different mentor walks and talk to a lot of different mentors on how you can move away from what you're not happy with. Another dream and goal that's really good is to be health related. So most of us can always improve. I consider myself healthy and fit, but I have always something that I can work on. So one of my dreams every year is to become fitter every birthday. So that's always on my list. So that could be one that you steal. And another one could be a relationship, family, or they can all be work related, whatever comes to mind for you. So I'm just going to give you about a minute to finish 3 things that you are going to choose for 2023. They're not set in stone, so you can change them. I started a new dream life coaching program, and that's one of my dreams, to make that the best possible way. So if you're already clear on what your dream is, you could then add you're going to make it the best you possibly can. I also, one of my dreams and goals for this year is to be the best mum that I can be. And I share that with my kids, and they are using it really, really well. They remind me all the time, all the things that they need to do to make me the best mum that I can be. So you can choose whatever is right for you. And then I always have the healthy one. So I try new challenges. I have a habit club where we choose a habit each month. I try something new each month to add to my health and well-being. So have a think about what those 3 can be for you, and really write down why. You might not have time to write them today, but really know why you want to do them, because when it gets challenging, it's really good to go back to those whys. I do it with everything that I change. I do it for my dreams and goals. I do it also for my habits. So, but to be able to do this top 3 that you've chosen for the year, we're going to break them down even further to quarters in a minute. But what do you need to start doing? So if it is work related, who do you need to walk with for the mentor walks, for example? Who do you need to have a coffee with? If you're starting a business, who can help you? If you have no idea and you need some support in that, you know, what kind of mentor do you need, or coach or a therapist, whatever feels right for you. You might also want to start spending a little bit of time each morning to think about what that is for you and work on that. So if you, for example, I don't know, join a small business course, you might want to work on that every single day, just to do a little bit each day while you still keep your job, perhaps. It could be that you want to start thinking about your life goals or life dreams. And I am super clear on my top 10 for my life. I know that I can't make them all happen now, but if you're not sure about those, that could be something that you could consider start doing, thinking about your long-term life. But most importantly, what are you going to stop? So we can do anything, but not everything at once. So what are you going to stop to be able to do more and focus more on your own life? So stop watching other people, stop scrolling social media. I'm not saying stop it, but just spend less time looking at other people's life and spend more time on your own. You might want to stop watching the news to be very positive. It's really difficult to watch the news. I'm not saying you should completely stop it, but I have, when I say completely, all the mainstream news I never watch. I go to certain things that I'm interested in terms of business, etc. But I don't want this kind of fear-based news in my system every single day. So you could also want to stop spending time with energy draining people, or it could also be that you want to stop saying yes when you actually want to say no. I think most of us can learn from that. I have been training that for a long time, and I'm getting very good at saying no. But I know that that's a challenge for most people. So have a think about what you need to stop to be able to fit in to work on your dream life. And I have no doubt that you have some things that you want to continue. So if you're exercising, you want to continue that. If you're drinking a green smoothie every day, you want to continue that. If you are doing a course, or you're getting mentoring or coached or a therapist, you might want to continue things like that. So just write down all the good things that you want to keep in your life, and make sure that you fit them into planning your year as well. So I just want to quickly talk about how I plan out my year. I have provided an overview over the year, and it looks like this, that it's on the screen as well. And I want you now just to start it. We're not going to be able to do the whole thing, and you really need some tools in terms of your diary and your all the things that you have that you know coming up. But I'm just going to explain how I plan my year, and then you can do this in your own time. But when I'm doing it, and if you have it printed out, start putting it in. I want you to start putting out your birthday and your family's birthday and your friends' birthdays. Also, any anniversaries that you celebrate is great to put in, and you put that in this overview. And I start on this piece of paper, and then I'm a visual person, so I actually have a wall calendar, and if you're not sure what to get, we do have one at the Dream Life store, but you can get them anywhere. But I love ours because I plan in quarters, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We divide ours up in quarters. I actually plan the quarters as little mini years, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, I just want you to think overview over the year. So put in your birthdays, also put any annual leave that you might already have decided. If you have children, put in the term dates. You might not know them now, but just write this down to add it. And so I put in the school holidays to make sure that I don't do any talks in another city if I'm away with the kids, etc. I also put in any long weekends, because sometimes you stumble across that you think, gosh, if I took the Monday off, I would have got a 4-week long weekend. So just put all those kind of things into your calendar so you have an overview. Also, any trips or any work projects, etc., all high level stuff on this kind of calendar. And as I said, I always start with this, and then I put it on a calendar on the wall, and I have all my high level on my wall, because when I get a request, I want to make sure that I am in the country or in the right city if I need to do it in person. Also, if a friend asks if we can go away or something, or if the kid's saying, I want to do this, I want to be able to see it really quickly. So I'm not saying you shouldn't use if you use paper diary or electronic diary, it doesn't really matter, but I just love have that overview. It just helps me making really quick decisions, and if you are a visual person, it really makes a big difference to be able to see the whole year. It also makes you realize how quickly a year goes, and if you plan it really well, you'll be able to make the most of the time that we have now. And then you just, any other high level things you might be able. I go to a conference every quarter, so it's a business conference, so you might have something that you do every quarter. It could be a health retreat, could be whatever is for you, that is already set high level in the calendar. And then I want you to choose top three for this quarter. And once you set your dreams and goals for the year, your top three, then you just need to break them down each quarter. And I want you to really just think about this quarter coming up. So I actually included here February, March, but you can decide just to do, because we're already halfway in a quarter, I would encourage you to just focus on this one first. And then at the end of March, you can then start thinking about quarter two. And once you start planning it this way, it's amazing how much more you get done. And also, when challenges come our way, which always happens, regardless how amazing your dream life is, COVID happens, someone might get sick, or someone might pass away. It's all those things that happens in our life that we know could come up. And then if you have a quarter that's not perfect, you're not waiting for a whole year to kind of start again. Every quarter is like a mini year, and it's a beautiful way of reflecting and really making sure that you make the most of the year. So choose your top three. You don't have to do that now. I'm conscious of time, so choose that when it's right for you. But then every mini year, go back and look at what your big goals are for the year, and make sure that you always break them down and focus on making them happen for the quarter. And if you do them quicker, you just add to them. So don't overthink this. Then you got the February-March calendar in the workbook, where you can go more in detail. So for example, if you have certain things you do each month or each week, this is where you go in. And again, it's so good to see it visually. I feel like I do a lot of workshops and speaking, so I really like to see them, so I don't overbook. It's just my biggest fear, that I say that I will be in two places at two times, because sometimes if someone else are putting in things to your diary and they miss it, it's so easy to miss. So I want to kind of control seeing, have the overview, and you can still obviously put it all in your electronic diary as well. And then a weekly planner, I plan every week on a Friday, and I time block, and I won't be able to go into that. This is something that I do in very big details, because I get so much more done since I started doing that. So happy to take any questions if you've got some time on that. But as I said, if you are interested in anything, I'm happy to go deeper in any topic that you might need. I promised that I would share my favorite tools. I put a QR code there so you can have a look at it. It doesn't matter what brand it is. I'm just sharing mine because I create everything that I need. So I'm not here to sell you anything. It's more just what I use on daily basis. And these are my productivity tools. So the first one is the yearly plan. I already spoken about that. I divided it into 3 quarters, so it's really easy to find. I also have the yearly plan top 3. I'm really big on making sure that I don't forget. Most of us who are setting so I have a big on my wall, and then I have my quarterly. So I actually just plan my quarterly goals for each quarter as they come up, because things might change. So I'm super clear on that. And I also have a little space for a habit. You guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, Kristina, I can. There's I'm just waiting for Sam, our operations manager, to come online.
Okay. Anyway, I'll just continue, yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Not sure what happened there, but let me just go back to sharing the screen. Sorry. I think the internet just cut off. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. So you can see the screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yep, apologies for that. I'm not sure what happened. I made sure that the internet was the best possible shape. Anyway, I'll just quickly go through these. These are all, they're all available on the Dream Life store if you want to check them out. But Plan Your Year, I'm really big on, and also Daily Progress. Daily Wins is about really thinking about your wins every single day. So write down your daily 3 wins and then plan your daily wins for tomorrow. Makes your, if you think about them the day before, you're more likely to make them happen. And then I'm very big on always see something, write down something you're grateful for. And then I'm also very big on self-care, because I think when we look after ourselves, we're better people and also able to do so much better things for the world. So that's my little tools. And then I want you to remember this one. One day you will wake up and there won't be any more time to do the things you always wanted to do. So do it now. I know you guys already know this, but now is the perfect time to take action. So anything that you have written down today, really take some time and make sure that you put it in as a priority. And as I said, if you need me for anything, I've got a podcast that I have some amazing interviews. Actually, I need to have you, Bobby and Adina, to come on that to talk about mental walks, because it's such a brilliant thing you guys have created. So if there's anything that I can do to help, I also active on Instagram. So if you need any free resources, there's lots that I have on my 2 websites, and you have the QR codes there. I think we made it all on time. So yes,
Kristina, I have to hand it to you. You are so on time with literally a minute to spare. That was an absolutely fantastic presentation, and I've done my work as you've been speaking with a couple of revelations. So thank you so much for me personally. But on behalf of Mentor Walks, thank you so much for being part of our community and such an advocate for what we're doing. We're an organisation where good women help good women, and you are doing just that by spending this time with us, with your generosity, your integrity, and your learnings. So deep thanks from us for sharing your How to Dream with us. And thank you everyone for coming. As mentioned earlier, this session has been recorded. It will be available on our YouTube channel. And please know that Mental Walks is there to help each and every one of you. Please book in for a walk. We also have virtual sessions for those that can't make it. So thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic evening and go well.
Yeah, and